Scoring Explosion, where we talk all things about our offense, and we are breaking down the offense by position groups, right, Honky?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get started here with the quarterbacks. And by the way, if you like this content, click the like button here on YouTube here. We're going to be breaking these videos out into individual segments. So if you're watching this later on YouTube and you're watching just the quarterbacks, know that we're also doing one for running backs and wide receivers, tight ends, and offensive line tonight. And so we'll try to keep these about 5-10 minutes each and kind of go from there. But this is pretty much the roster right now. And for some of these position groups, it's not going to be everybody that's on the field or on the team right now, like in spring. This is just what we have right now from a scholarship standpoint on the roster. Now with the quarterbacks, all 6 of these guys are here right now. So that does make it easier. Coach Rule talked today about Casey Thompson, basically saying he's not going to be doing much more than maybe a little bit of throwing in spring ball. So don't have any expectations for him here in April of seeing him running around, taking hits or anything like that. But what we have from a roster standpoint is Casey Thompson, the starter, coming back. He's the lone senior, 6 feet, 195. Behind him, Jeff Sims. He's the transfer, the junior, 6'4", 220 from Georgia Tech. Logan Smothers, junior, 6'2", 190. He's been in the program now like 4 years, and he had a start against Iowa a couple years ago. Heinrich Haarberg, the in-state kid from Kearney, sophomore, 6'5", 210. Chubba Purdy, sophomore, 6'2", 210. And then Richard Torres, the redshirt freshman from Texas, 6'4", 215. So, Dave, I guess jumping off the page right away, I mean, that's a lot of names.
It's a lot of names. They're all still here, which is awesome. Hopefully there's some competition. Even without Casey out there, you still have 5 guys with a brand new playbook. Jeff Sims definitely has a lot of starting experience coming from Georgia Tech, and with a new playbook, it's kind of a level playing field. But some of these players like Logan Smothers have built-in relationships with the teammates here. So I'm sure Jeff Sims will be working hard on that and kind of see where it goes. I think it's going to be interesting. And, I think we got a comment in saying that we're going to still need green jerseys. So I suppose it's probably true, but with 5 guys, I'd like to see a little bit of competition here, however that plays out. Right, Honky? I mean, I don't think we need to treat these guys with too much caution.
No, I mean, I'm going to go back to what I said about the practice to begin with. I think you have to have some balance there. Again, let's not have a bloodbath and beat these guys up every single day, but at the same time, you have to have a legitimate competition, and they're going to have some scrimmages, and these guys are going to take some hits. I'm confident in this. They're going to take some hits in a couple of those scrimmages at the times that they need to. And I think that's a way that you're going to be able to filter through who is number 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I'm not giving anything to Casey right now either. He's not just a de facto starter no matter what. I mean, he's going to have to show something at some point. And I understand coming off injury, he doesn't get that chance to right away. But there's a lot of guys here that are going to be fighting for that spot. And even today, Coach Rule talked about the athleticism of Purdy and Haarberg, 2 guys that have stood out athletically. And that's not even talking about a guy like Sims, who that's what he's known for coming here from Georgia Tech. So there's some real
straight line speed like Smothers. Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some legitimate athleticism in this room.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how the GPS timing works. It's kind of interesting that all the players have GPS systems, and it's probably not just, 40-yard dash times here they're talking about. But Boomer, let's hypothetically say that since Casey Thompson's out, the real competition here between Jeff Sims and Logan Smothers, the 2 quarterbacks with the most playing experience. Now, I guess Chubba might be right in that same boat with Logan, but they're pretty similar. But with 6 quarterbacks on the roster, you think eventually there might be some attrition that may occur here before the first game in Minneapolis come next August. Would you be interested to see Rule and his staff let Haarberg and Purdy and Torres, really, play some physical football here and see who can kind of, operate in a real football condition in spring ball here to actually create some of that separation? Because if you don't have enough of those kind of like game-like situations to evaluate, you're kind of still at the same point,
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, they do have some, footage of Smothers and Purdy playing, so that I think they know what they've got to some degree there. But I definitely think if you are those players, you certainly want that kind of practice. You want something to be able to show how you can separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. And I am kind of with you, Dave. I'm surprised all the players, these 6 are still here. I did kind of expect to see at least one, enter the transfer portal, just given the nature of the game these days and, opportunities elsewhere.
Yep.
I would probably bet we'll see one after spring ball, once kind of the pecking order has been, shaked out. And, the staff brought in Sims for a reason, so they must like what they see there, either as the starter or the backup. And, there'll be other quarterbacks coming in, as well as with recruiting classes. So I think there is probably going to be some attrition, but that's just the nature of the game nowadays.
Yeah, and I'll direct this question to Boomer, but Honky or Rob, if you know the answer, remind me on like the transfer rules when it's a second time. For example, with Chubba Purdy, is he locked in here a little bit more because he can't have a free transfer out and play right away? He would have to sit out a year. Or with Casey Thompson, I mean, was it already a grad transfer to get him here?
Yeah,
he was a grad transfer, right?
Yeah.
The rules can get a little different when you have a coach just leave. So Purdy, right after Frost left, Purdy potentially, I think, could have left again with that being the reason because of a coaching change. But now that we're, months after that, I don't know if that even applies anymore at this point. And then, yeah, it would get to the point if it's like if you're a senior transferring, there could be some senior rules. But so someone like Purdy, who's, a sophomore, who isn't graduating yet from undergrad, I think it would be if he transferred right now, he'd have to have some kind of waiver. There'd have to be some reason why he'd be able to play right away. He'd have to, sit out a season the way that the rules work there. But yeah, I just, to go back to the contact piece or the competition piece, it's amazing to me what we have from an experience standpoint. I can't think of the last time we would have had 2 Power 5 starting quarterbacks at Georgia Tech and Texas that are 1 and 2 right now. And to have a third guy who has started against Iowa and have a fourth guy or a fifth guy, Purdy, who, wherever you put him, yeah, Purdy, he started a game at Florida State. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of P5 starting experience across the board. And yet you still want to get a lot of film of these guys and you want to get them into competitive situations. We heard about that all offseason with the offseason program that they did about being competitive. You want to get them in competitive, competing competitions. Some of those are going to revolve around some contact and some of them are not going to be contact drills. But I think that's something that is really crucial. This is a huge room. I mean, let's just be frank about that. I can't believe we have 6 scholarship quarterbacks right now, and that is very unique. And I'd be interested to see, how many other programs are even close to this. We probably want to be at 4, just from a number standpoint. I don't think too many people even carry 5. So, we'll see. And the athleticism, one thing I do want to say that's interesting is that as Coach Rule talked today about, Haarberg and how athletic he is, and you think back to last season where, Coach Whipple was wanting to play him at tight end. I'm not saying Haarberg's going to be transferring, moving positions or anything, but that's one option for a guy too. I mean, it's not just, you're a quarterback or not, you're off the team. It could be something too, or if these guys are athletic enough, they could be moved around potentially, some of these guys. But it'll be fun to watch it play out.